we've done that before. And we will be sending that out to all near 200 of the people in the Employers Network. We will be sending out some follow-up. As you know, we are in communication regularly with you all. And obviously, at any point, if you've got any suggestions for our masterclasses or our quarterly meetings, please, please, please let us know and tell us what you need and how we did. Obviously, all these sessions are carefully curated, and this is something that people have been asking for. And I know not everybody can get to these sessions. We will send out the recordings to everybody. But I don't know whether you'll be happy to hear that today I've got a very limited job. I've got housekeeping and introductions, as you can see on the screen. Do you know, I'm just going to hand over to the amazing Claire Caddick from the Liverpool City Region Careers Hub, and she can tell you a little bit more about our exciting speakers, no pressure, today. Over to you, Claire.
Cheers, Michelle. Thanks, guys. So I am the operational hub lead of the LCR Careers Hub, and I lead on inclusion. So today's session is basically delving a little bit deeper. The more data, basically, and the more student voice that we receive back, the deeper we dig with inclusion. We're also kind of following the CEC, so the Careers and Enterprise Company national trends as well, when we start to look at priority groups. So you will hear me today refer to a system called Future Skills Questionnaire. So nationally across the country, we have a survey for young people where we ask them to fill in questions about what they know and what they don't know, what they like, what they don't like about careers, and we receive all that data back, and it gives us a really good idea about where we need to close the gap, especially when we're talking about inclusion. So why are we looking at the expansion of inclusion groups? Well, we've already done so much excellent work with the SEND schools that we've got in the hub. So about 2.5 years ago, I think, maybe 3 years ago, no, 3 years ago, we started to bring in the SEND schools. And at first, when they were completing the Gatsby benchmark assessment tool, obviously they were new to careers, the scores were quite low. Now they are actually on 6 benchmarks out of 8 at 100%, which is brilliant. And in most benchmarks, they're actually outperforming the mainstream institutions. I think this is because they are so kind of hot on addressing the needs of every student when it comes to careers. They have got kind of more time in the classroom to be more flexible when it comes to careers, and they are so kind of greatly appreciated of any support and any help and opportunities that they get. So they've really, really embraced it. Now, quite rightly, we want to use our experience and expertise to help other marginalised groups. So the kind of groups that everybody is now looking at across the country are these groups below here that I've listed. So free school meal students has always been a priority for the hub, always a really, really top priority, because kind of where Liverpool sits in a kind of socio-economic status. Care leavers, so we've got Catch 22 on the call today because they are the experts with care leavers. We can't do everything ourselves as a hub, and we're not always targeted to hit every one of these groups, so we get in expertise to come and help. Minority groups, so those kind of minority groups that we're looking at is English as a second foreign language. We have a brilliant enterprise coordinator called Paul Seaton. I think he was telling me the other day that there was one school that he works with, and there's over 70 different languages spoken in that school, which is like massive. Another group that we're looking at is Black and Asian minority groups. So in our region of Liverpool, unfortunately, Black students are 50% less likely to go to university. Also, when they are in employment, they are on average paid over £1 less an hour than their counterparts, which is quite shocking, really. And then we've got the rest listed there. So on the next slide, this is data that we have received from the Future Skills questionnaire that I was just talking about. As you can see, students who are on free school meals respond a lot more negatively within their answers when it comes to careers in every single year group than those students who are not on free school meals. So an example of this are some of the questions that we've got are asking young people about their confidence with the A-level pathway. So 51% of students who are not on free school meals said that they understood A-levels to a massive great extent, and that's compared to 35% of students who are on free school meals, so quite a big difference there. We got similar answers when it comes to the knowledge on apprenticeships, T-levels and BTECs. So delving into students a little bit, so in the Gatsby benchmark assessment tool, we do talk about gender stereotypes and female students getting exposed to all routeways. A big part of that is STEM, engineering. So here's our data for female students. So as you can see, as you see the amount of the in all the age groups, irrelevant of whether you're on free school meals or not, female students are less career ready. They're saying they're less career ready than the males. Some of the reasons behind the gender disadvantage in this data could be lower career confidence, unfortunately. So the last page that I'm just going to mention, again, why is inclusion in careers so important? This is a survey, a research paper that I've been looking at recently from the National Centre for Social Research. And the data in this study was conducted by following a cohort of young people from the age of, I think it was 13 up until they reached 25. So the paper identified 19 risk factors of NEET, and it was put into categories of education, family circumstances, health, living standards and risky behaviour. So naturally, some of these factors scored a lot higher than other risk factors. So the highest risk factor, which kind of doubled the score, was for those students who had a limiting disability or identified as SEN. And I think for me, the most worrying part of this study is that young people averaged at least 4 risk factors when it came to being NEET. So the reason, obviously, that we're looking and more into inclusion is because we want to close the gap for these groups that we want to support and ultimately lower the risk of NEET in our region. So that hopefully leads quite nicely onto our next guest speaker, which is it Shally, Gemma? Shally.
Yeah.
So Shally, over to you, lovely.
Oh, thank you so much. If I could have my first slide, would that be okay? Thank you. So hi everybody, my name is Shally and I am the LCR Employee Engagement Coordinator. I'm also part of the LCR Supported Employment Forum, which is a collaboration of the 6 local authorities who have come together and pooled their resources for supported employment, and also kindly have pooled their resources for my role. So if we could go on to the next slide, that would be great. So finding a job we know can be quite challenging in itself, and finding the right candidate can be quite challenging, and just the process of recruitment for most people can be quite stressful. Research and lived experience has showed that that process of recruitment is even more difficult for individuals with special educational needs and disabilities and or who are neurodiverse. Unfortunately, what we're finding is that quite a few businesses are unaware that their hiring processes or their recruitment processes may not be as inclusive or supportive as they could be for someone who is, say, neurodiverse or has a special educational need or disability, which then becomes a barrier to reaching employment. So part of my role is, my goal is to increase the number of supported internships across the local city region and to support employers with understanding more about supported employment and supported internships. So just today, I'm just going to share a few insights on supported internships and basically how they work. Perfect. So, we see supported internships as helping bridge that gap to inclusive employment and making employment more inclusive. So the supported internship program is is a national initiative, and it's aimed at supporting young adults with disabilities into securing paid employment. So the whole goal of a supported internship is paid work at the end, and that's achieved through internship placements. It's seen as the most effective pathway for young adults with SEND to enter the workforce and acquire those skills, those employability skills that they need. So how does it work and how can we start? So if we look at the next slide. Yep. So basically, a supported internship is a structured work-based study program, and it's designed for 16 to 24-year-olds that have a special educational need and a disability, and who also have an educational health and care plan. And how it works is basically a young adult who wants to do a supported internship program is enrolled in a local college or school, and they are in full-time education. The education provider then fosters a really supportive environment of learning for the young adults as well whilst they're on their internship, and also provide them with qualifications for their internship as well. As part of the program and the internship, young adults need to engage in a substantial work placement with a host employer. So this placement can focus either on one particular area within the business, or similar to graduate internships, you can rotate and span like different areas. What's really key and crucial about the supported internship program is that every young person will have a job coach, and that young person is supported by that job coach throughout their time on the program. So during their placement, you'll have the intern. Oh, still back one. Sorry, you'll have the intern and the job coach, and relevant staff mentors will also receive support from job coaches as well. And they play a real crucial role in helping learn different aspects of the role and the tasks and the responsibilities that you have in the role. As interns gain more confident and become more confident in their job, the level of support from our job coaches gradually reduces, and they collaborate directly with managers and staff and tailor that support for hopefully a seamless experience for the intern and the employer. And like I said, the whole goal of a supported internship is paid work at the end of it. So how would that work in practice? And the next slide should hopefully give us a bit more detail. Perfect. So typically, interns spend up to 4 days a week with an employer. That also can depend on the individual needs of the intern and the employer, so there is some flexibility in that as well. And as mentioned, job coaches, their role is really integral to supporting interns on their placements. So they are, across the local city region, all our job coaches are trained in TSI, which is teaching and systematic instruction, and they support young people to break down tasks and to their simplest level. And they also help understand things like timekeeping or uniform policy or health and safety, things that that you would need to know when you're onboarding or as part of your role. And the program, I would say, is very much a collaboration between the education providers, the job coaches, and also the employer, with hopefully the end result being a paid opportunity for that intern. And if we go on to the next slide. So why do they matter so much? Why do supported internships matter? Perfect. So currently only around 5 to 7% of adults with a learning disability in the UK are actually in paid work. And in the Northwest, that figure drops down to 4.1%, which is below the national average. So we recognise that urgent need for improvement. And here across the Liverpool City region, we're really working hard to increase that number. And what is great is we have a substantial number of interns enrolled in supported internship programs. And what's great to know is that they are all eager to transition into paid employment. So here is a great talent pool to access, and they're ready and they are keen to be in paid work, which is wonderful. And on the next slide, if we move on, we're just going to talk about the benefits to employers. So you might need to click through a couple. Would that be okay? That's the last one. Perfect. So what are the benefits to employers? So Employing an intern, you also have access to that hidden talent pool. So over 70% of people with learning disabilities are known to local authorities, yet, like I said, less than 5% are actually in work. So there is a hidden talent pool here that is ready to work. It also provides a loyal workforce, and a MENCAP survey of employers recently showed that people with learning disabilities are more likely to stay, 3 times more likely to stay in their job longer than somebody without a learning disability. So it really can provide a loyal workforce, and we have lots of examples across the city region of young people that have been working in their roles for 6 years and had 2 days off sick, so which is absolutely incredible. It also gives employers the chance to create and support that diverse workforce, and recognizing individuals' unique abilities and skills and using that to create a really positive dynamic workforce, which links on to the next one. And also it's all part of social responsibility and fairness, and it's a reflection of an organization's commitment to fairness and social responsibility, but also it's making your organization more reflective of the society that you're working in as well. So if we could move on to the next slide. So if you're thinking, oh, how would someone go about offering a sport internship, and how would that work for us, or how would that work for somebody I know? So it's quite straightforward. So as a local authority, we have people working across all 6 local authorities. Yep. So we would help you with recruiting and onboarding, so guiding you through the steps of recruiting an intern, and also looking at what a business's unique needs are, and hopefully creating a supportive onboarding plan to introduce an intern into the organisation. We know that interns really benefit from structured learning experiences that are tailored to their kind of skill set and their abilities and their goals. And job coaches work really closely with managers to provide that structured learning and offer that ongoing support as well for employers. We can also help identify with workplace accommodations and support with implementing them within a workplace and supporting with that smooth transition for an intern. We've also got coming out soon a step-by-step comprehensive guide for all employers who are thinking, oh yes, this could be a journey that we'd like to include into our business. And for us and for me, the rewards are massive. They're really significant. Supported internships, I think, really benefit interns as well, but also have such a positive impact on businesses and organizations, and they really promote diversity and skill development, which is wonderful. If we could go on to the next slide, that'd be great. Okay, so supported internships fall under the umbrella of inclusive employment. But what does that mean? What could that mean for somebody? So it's basically ensuring that all individuals, regardless of their background, are given equal opportunities to work and contribute to the workforce, and creating a workplace that celebrates diversity and celebrates differences and makes employees feel valued and respected. So that's what we would really like to happen across lots of our businesses across the LCR, I think. Yeah, perfect. So we were hoping to have an employer with us today, but unfortunately they couldn't make it. So we've just got a quick video from an event that the wonderful Chloe Foran did. I think she's somewhere on here, a few weeks ago on National Supported Internship Day. And this is just some of our employers here across this region talking about supported internships.
I think a lot of employers are potentially apprehensive about how the young people will interact with their team. My team have been absolutely amazing. They've just taken it absolutely in their stride. They've just embraced the whole programme and really do love to see the journey of each of the supported interns we've had over the years, and are still supporting our original ones today, which is just brilliant.
We've got one particular person, she came and she had no confidence. I was chatting to her, she couldn't even actually look at me in the eye. She's not only working in our kitchen 3 days a week, she's now gone and done a course to do nails. She's mobile doing nails. She's now thinking of going and doing an art therapy course. So for me, watching this young person grow and her confidence build, we need to give more people opportunities.
Great. If you go to the next slide. Thank you. So what could inclusive employment look like, and how could somebody make their workplace more inclusive, more accessible? I'm not an HR expert, but I am working really closely with some HR experts at the moment from across the city region, and we've just kind of shared some practical suggestions that you could introduce into as part of your practice into the workplace. So sometimes when people think about accessibility and being inclusive, sometimes people tend to think, oh yes, we are quite accessible. You know, we have ramps, we have we have wheelchair access, and that's a great place to start. But actually, it's so much more than that. And accessibility means giving people the right training and the right tools and the right equipment to do their job effectively. So here are just some of the suggestions that have come up over the last 6-7 months while I've been working across different employers and with different people as well. So flexible work arrangements. So that is something that's come into law recently, and it's just making people think about different options such as job sharing or having flexible schedules. So these arrangements just can sometimes allow for a better balance between work and personal life. So that could be having somebody arrive a little bit earlier in their job or a little bit later, because maybe the traffic getting to work might impact their working day. It's considering job sharing, which, you know, could you have 2 people or 3 people do one particular role, which would be employing more people and, you know, providing that better balance for work for your staff. Diversity and inclusion training for staff, which is providing training to employees to help them understand the importance of diversity and inclusion in the workplace. And this can help encourage that supportive environment where everybody feels included, which would be wonderful. Just being open to making changes and reasonable adjustments in the work environment, or adjusting someone's job duties slightly to accommodate an employee's needs is a really great place to start as well. And also perhaps looking at creating more application processes and making them more accessible. So this could be developing a more straightforward application process for candidates, or just being more clear, or thinking about providing alternative formats such as easy read versions or audio versions. And something key that keeps coming up again and again is asking candidates how they want to be contacted after their interview. For example, you know, would they prefer to just be emailed, or would they prefer to be called? And could they be called at a specific time, which then will reduce their stress, because they know that they're being called between 12 and 1 on Tuesday, and they're not waiting for days to hear about what their job outcome was. And I think if we go to the next slide. Oh, thank you. And here I've just had some suggestions of inclusive employment for young people, which I thought was really interesting, and I wanted to add these in here as well. So like I said, providing information in different formats. So having something that's perhaps in an easy read version would be wonderful, perhaps using some more pictures, which can also be really beneficial. Taking complaints on the phone. Sometimes if you're having an issue with the recruitment process, it can be quite hard to get somebody on the phone to make that process more accessible. So if there was a phone number or even a chat box where somebody could directly talk to somebody, that would be really helpful, and helps eliminate some barriers as well. And perhaps looking at assistive technology, which can also be really useful when you're supporting young people or anybody with special education needs or disability. So those are just some suggestions from young people that have come up. And I think that's everything. So thank you. I've put my details on there as well, and I've put Chloe's details on there as well. And yes, that's it. I haven't looked in the chat box if there are any questions, but if you have any.
Oh, thank you very much. Sally, I'll just jump in there. It was, yeah, really, really interesting to hear about all those different things. And I think some of the suggestions seem really easy, don't they? But it can be really, you just be dead easy to forget about those sorts of things. So thank you very, very much. I'm just going to click on to the next slide here. Our next lovely speaker is Zoe from Catch 22. I know that Zoe is on the call, and she is going to talk a little bit about care leavers into careers.
Hi everyone, thank you so much. And yeah, so like it's been said, I'm from Catch 22. I work on the CLICK program, so Care Leavers into Careers. We're a small program, but we cover all of the Liverpool City regions. Catch 22 itself is one of the biggest charities in the UK. We've actually been around for over 200 years, and we have different sectors. So we work in education, employability, justice, young people and families, but obviously I'm here today from the employability side. Care leavers into careers. So CLICK, as we call ourselves, supports care experienced young people across all of the Liverpool City regions. We do break down whatever barriers and goals and intentions they may have to get into work. But we do obviously focus on employability, but we are also a holistic service. So we come across our main barrier to work actually being mental health. So we have a lot of places that we signpost. We have actually offered, because every person has a certain amount of money that we can spend on them. And we have offered to use that money before for therapy or anything that we can do within our remit to support them with mental health or other barriers. We absolutely do. Time and time again, care experienced young people tell us that trusted relationships are really hard to come by. So our career mentors are a point of contact, not only, like I say, for employability, but for apprenticeships, training, education opportunities. We come across a lot that the care leavers we work with don't have GCSEs. So it automatically means that they're actually not eligible for a lot of apprenticeships that are out there. So we have supported at least 2 of our participants into doing their functional skills. We do come up against a lot of people saying they can't do a classroom setting. So it is quite a challenge, but when they are able, we do try and push people to get their maths and English. The CLICK journey looks like this. So your onboarding process with your mentor, we have 2 mentors, and we split the city up into different regions. So it's only based on geographical as to which mentor you'll get, but obviously they're both amazing. The onboarding process doesn't take too long. It can be done in 1 session. It is quite a lot of questions, but once it's done, it's done. And then you work with your mentor for however long you need to break down whatever barriers they are. So we have some people who have just kind of left their PA and they're trying to move out. At 18, you stop having access to housing. So we have a lot of people who we help support with their move. We will help purchase things for them for their flat. Whatever, like I say, just whatever we can support them with to get them, work ready, we will do. They work with their mentor to build their confidence and break down whatever barriers they are facing. And then they work with me. So the employability engagement officer, and I help them find whatever opportunities it is they need to upskill. If they are ready to go straight into work, then that's fantastic. And we obviously do that as well. But usually we help people find a course first or a program. So we work a lot with Springboard in hospitality. There's a great new organisation in St Helens called New Beginnings. We've been working with them a lot, who help people gain their SES cards and tiling skills. So there are lots of opportunities out there. Like I say, the main barrier we face is the GCSEs, but there are a few that don't ask. So we mainly work with them. Once they've found their employment or the further education that they have entered into, they are still supported by us. So if they're just in education or programs or training, the support doesn't stop. And then even once their employment, we offer 6 months of in-work support. But if anyone, we've had quite a lot of people who have found work and it hasn't quite worked out for them long term, and they come back to us. So we are always available for our participants, really, whenever they need us. The challenge that we face. So the challenge for care experienced young people and employment is one that isn't always seen. However, we believe that there are more barriers for care experienced young people to be work ready. Catch-22 strongly believes in the 3 Ps. So this for us is good people, a purpose, and a good place to live. We have seen that these 3 elements are not always stable for our care experienced young people. Work is often the last thing that they have time to worry about, unfortunately, and they are less likely to have these 3 elements. So our support is to help create that side of things as well as employability. Just 14% of care leavers under the age of 19 progress onto higher education compared to the 47% of all other children, a discrepancy that has not changed in a decade. As you can see, care experienced are more likely to be less work ready, as they often do not have their GCSEs or higher education and can often have different expectations of people, which does lead to miscommunication in the workplace. But we are here to bridge that gap and create those opportunities for them. So employers and Click, because there are 2 sides, obviously, to us. We work directly with our care experienced young people, but then the employer side is what I do. So I work closely with a range of different employers and organizations to help them find suitable candidates for their available roles. Our service is free to everyone. There is never an obligation to take on any candidate. Our employer partners will always have the final say, but they will receive advice and training on how to adapt your recruitment process to help the individuals. Optional trauma training, which is a course that I created. It doesn't take particularly long, and it can be sent out in a PDF. So if they opt out of having it delivered, we do send it out just to make sure everyone has that information and that knowledge. Advice on how to support these new recruits once they're in their new working role, and in-work support for any of the candidates. So what we ask of our employers, we are not asking for anyone to hand out jobs unconditionally, but to work with us and consider our participations for any roles that they do have upcoming, and maybe to give us a slight edge, it just time-wise, just to let us know that the role is going to be coming up. If possible, offer work experience apprenticeships with potential of employment if it's completed well. Prior to employee's start date, we ask for introductory days or visits to enable the applicant to see their working environment, learn any information, anything they would need to know about their colleagues, or most importantly, their line manager, as it will help reduce their first day anxiety massively. We also recommend that the line manager builds a relationship with the care experienced young person. By building this trust, it will make a massive difference in terms of their performance. We are also happy to help facilitate this as we continue to work with both the employer and the care experienced young person. Supportive line management. Entering a new workplace can be very daunting for anyone, especially someone who has faced so many challenges. So supportive line management, we feel, will help will help them realize their full potential. And unfortunately, I don't have a slide with my contact details on. I didn't think that far ahead. But if anyone does want to get a hold of us, we have a Click LinkedIn page, and I can put my email in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zoe. Oh, Michelle.
That's okay. You go, Gemma.
I was just going to say, we will be sure to share everyone's contact details. I know Jackie shared as well that all of the local authorities have a kind of point person similar to Shally. So we'll make sure everyone gets everyone's details.
Thank you.
In our follow-up emails and everything. Fabulous. Thank you very much. And the lovely Fran has joined us today as well. She's going to chat to you a little bit about Underwing Liverpool and what they do and their experience as well. So I'll hand over to Fran, and then hopefully we'll have a bit of time to chat as well at the end.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. I'm really sorry I was late joining in. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. So, as said, my name is Fran. Let's see. Oh, the slides work. Amazing. Today, we're talking about how true diversity and inclusion can enrich your business. I am really, really passionate about this subject, and it's something I work on from both sides, from the sides of people who will become employees, so and our students now, and from the sides of people who are already employers and are looking for employees and want to be as inclusive and create a diverse workforce. So this is a bit about me. I'm a coach, I'm a consultant and a trainer. I try to help businesses succeed working around their lives and needs. I am a business and marketing coach. I help people start and grow their businesses, and I do it working mostly with female founders and entrepreneurs with special needs. With Underwing, I help profit for good, neurodivergent-led and female-led businesses make big shifts. And then I work with organizations and schools in Italy and the UK, and I help them become more inclusive through neurodiversity training or consultations. I am also a volunteer as enterprise advisor for the Careers and Enterprise company. So I am assigned to a school called Ashley School, which is an autism school in Witness. And I work with them and with local employers in order to help students understand what employers are looking for, and employers realize what value being truly inclusive can bring to their business. One really important thing about the students is that when I started working with Ashley School, I looked into what did they need to hit the benchmarks and how could I help. And I came up with a series of things that we do every year together, and that help both the students realize that there isn't just the traditional ways into work, but also the traditional kind of jobs that we all think about, but also think on whether maybe freelance life or entrepreneurial life could be best for them. I do this in a series of ways, and I don't remember if there's a slide. Yes, there's a slide about how I do it. So I do this creating opportunities for students to meet neurotypical and neurodiverse entrepreneurs and ask them questions about skills or knowledge they look for in an employees. I organize Guess My Jobs Day. So these are days where I bring in employers, and the students just ask them questions to guess what they actually do. Sometimes it's employers, people who actually employ people. Sometimes it's freelancers, and I brought all sorts from policemen to artists, to book illustrators, to tattoo artists, mathematicians, gamers, people who make a living doing video, like playing video games. So I try to be as diverse and as open as possible, and I try when I can to bring neurodiverse people, because I think it's really important. I always say, if you can't see it, you can't be it. If you don't see that neurodivergent people can be successful successful, can be entrepreneurs, can be highly up managers, you don't think you can beat. And for me, that's a really, really important thing. And then after they guess what job the guests do, they can ask them a lot of questions about what skills do you need, what if you could go back, what would you say to someone who wants to do your job, etc., etc. I believe that empowering students to think outside the box about careers, jobs, and also being an entrepreneur is one of the most important things we can do as enterprise advisors, but also as employers, because it's a really difficult world out there for everyone, but for people who are neurodivergent, every day there is an extra challenge, and whatever other people are doing, we have to do doubling up on the effort. So that's some of the ways I work with my school. We also do a lot of other things. I go in and run workshops on starting your own business. So if they've got any ideas or they want to ask any questions, we can sit down and actually talk through their ideas and things like that. I check in every now and then to see if there's anything they need from me. And I always tend to bring in employers who can then develop a relationship with the school and maybe kind of become part of the life of the school and help a little more, even if they're not enterprise advisors. These are some of the photos of me in Ashley School. Some is Guess My Job, some is just me delivering workshops about starting your own business. So how does this thing that I do contribute to creating a diverse, inclusive, and equal landscape? In two ways. It's the students get an idea of how it is working for someone else. What are people looking for real in the real world? Because I believe school is a really important tool in our lives, and it helps us prepare for life in two ways. One is with the knowledge, but the other one is teaching us how to survive socially, teaching us how to become functional adults. And the one thing that school can't do because of a technical issue is that they can't really teach us what it is like to work, what it is like to be in an environment where you're expected to do things that no one has ever told you about. And this is what I try to bring in. And on one side, the students see what's needed, but on the other side, the employers see that the students don't have that practical knowledge yet, and so they can't expect it when the students go in as a first-time employees or as apprentices. Having this knowledge helps both parties, helps everyone understand that there might be the need for accommodations or there might be the need for extra help before the apprenticeship or the job experience happens. Opens everyone's mind also about what it is like to be on the other side, which I think is a really important thing. And then this is a question for every employer. Can your company afford to not be inclusive, equal, and diverse? Because really, I am a marketeer, and here I'm about to drop some data on you. 76% of people between 19 and 26 do a research when they're looking for jobs today to see if companies are inclusive and sustainable. And if the answer to either one of those two questions is no, they're going to ditch you. They're going to go somewhere else. If They look into your company and they see that you're not proactively talking about the fact that you're inclusive and you're sustainable, or you are on a path to become so, they're going to ditch you. They bring their talent somewhere else. And then you're going to have companies full of really, really talented people, and you're going to be left with those who don't care. And you don't want people to not care when they work for you. So that really was me. I hope I stayed in my time. This is some really interesting readings if you want to look into diversity and inclusion in the workplace. They're really good book. They're not very long. The Loudest Duck and Belonging. They're really, really good. They're about, I want to say, 150 pages each. So half a day read. They give you lots of good ideas, easy read. There's nothing major to it. I don't know if there's time or space for questions, but if there are, I'm here. A little bit of Italian for you all to learn. Grazie mille. Thank you very much for your attention. And there is a slide with my contacts, but they're going to be circulated later on. Thank you, everyone, so much.
Thanks, Fran. I just wanted to take a minute to just thank Fran for the work that she does with Ashley High, the career leader there. Is always saying that it makes such a difference, and they're so appreciated of the work and the people that she brings in. And to tie that in as well, so Fran is an enterprise advisor, of which in the Careers Hub we have around 132. And Fran mentioned some of the activities that she does in the match that she's had with her school, Ashley. And that role is very, very unique. I think every enterprise advisor that we match with a school, we have a job description, but it's so unique, that role, because it depends on the skills and the qualities of the person and what that individual school needs. So we get so many examples of what weird and wonderful stuff it is going on that's making huge and massive impact. I think that this academic year and next academic year, we really need to concentrate on the diversity of our enterprise advisors as well, and who we recruit. That is a massive priority for me. I think we need more Black and Asian entrepreneurs going in and working in those schools with high proportions of Black students and talking to them about their career journey. I always remember last year a student taking me to the side and asking me if it's safe to be gay and out in the workplace. And that is a very, very real fear, but something that's just made me feel really, really sad. So I also feel that, you know, an increase in LGBT enterprise advisors as well, talking about, you know, their career journeys and how they are in the workplace. I just think that that is an agenda that we really need to start looking at. So yeah, if anybody's on the call and is interested in that volunteer job role, just let me know and we can look at matching you with any schools that we have that are available. Okay, so I think we have 8 minutes, about 8ish minutes left. So yeah, I think we're all going to stay on the call, and if anyone's got any questions about what we're trying to do in the hub with inclusion, or if they've got any questions about how their workplace can be more inclusive to any of the speakers that we've heard today or to myself, then yeah, we'll stay on and either put in the chat or just turn your mic off. That'd be great.
Oh, thank you, and thanks, Claire. Thanks to everyone who's joined today. I think it's been some really insightful things for us all to go away and think about. It's been really, really, really useful. We've touched on loads of different areas of kind of diversity and inclusion. We couldn't possibly cover them all in one call. What I will say is that last year when we done this session, Claire done a fabulous session as well. So what I'm going to do is make sure that recording is shared with you all for those of you who might have missed it too. And we'll make sure that we share it today's as well. I'm going to start recording, so if you do want to ask any questions, want to have a chat with us, just let me know. But thank you. What I will say is I think our next and our last quarterly meeting of the Employer Network for 2024 is scheduled in May, and I will send out the details for that after today as well. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, Gemma.